and nothing means anything, because once you land in Nam, you're in another world, my friend, and that's where we're going right now. And nobody's going to be able to come out of there unless you're 18 or 19, so I want everybody else to go somewhere else. Everybody that's 18 or 19, check in. And this is the way it was to be a boonie rat in 68 and 9 in Nam.
What's a boonie rat?
A boonie rat is a guy who lives all his life in the boonies, all his Vietnam life in the jungle. A boonie rat, it's like a gym rat who plays basketball 12 hours a day, or any kind of a musical rat, but a boonie rat back in the day meant a Nam vet. And
It's kind of one of the frontline guys who actually saw action rather than like the
there were no
support.
front lines in Nam, but all my time was spent in the jungle, and this is the way it was.
Sure.
We went out for 30 days at a time. We'd fly back on the helicopters, back to base camp, take a shower, pull guard, get up in the morning, fly back out for 30 days. It was the jungle all the time. You were a boonie rat, and I'm proud to say it because most guys did not want to be a boonie rat. They would rather shoot themselves in the foot than go out into the jungle. 105 degrees, humidity beyond compare. Everything you carry is on your back. Water, chow, ammo, you know what I'm saying. So anyway, 90% of your time in the field is just marching behind another guy, walking through the jungle, falling down, getting up. It's more boring than you can imagine until something happens and then it explodes right in your face. And these are some of the things I wrote down to let you know what can happen. Some of the stories I have, because I was a little, not unique, just a little different, because I was an outlaw before I got to Nam. Now in our last episode, there was 3 or 4 stories. I've got 3 or 4 more. I'll go right to the first one without any further ado.
Thanks.
So I'm in the rear. When you get court-martialed and you're an infantryman, they have to take you out of the field and put you into the rear until you go to this court-martial. So I'm waiting 4 or 5 days to the court-martial, and in the meantime, a friend of mine from the platoon, his name was Ken Harrelson, he was from San Diego. Like me, he's 18 or 19, he comes back from R&R. Now R&R was called rest and relaxation or something. Sure. After 7 or 8 months in Nam, you were eligible to go on R&R. That meant you could go to Hawaii, Australia, Kuala Lumpur, Hong Kong, and a couple other places that I forget. Probably Bangkok, because that was so close to Nam. So anyway, this kid goes on R&R for a week, comes back. He's like me, waiting to catch a helicopter for the resupply to go back into the field. And he couldn't take it. After a week in civilization, he couldn't go back to the field. It was too much of a mind blower. So he said to me, Bob, you got to help me. You got to shoot me in the foot, the hand. You got to do something, Bob. I can't go back. And I said, there's no way I'm shooting you or anything like that. So anyway, about the second day after him bugging me, I finally got fed up. I said, okay, come with me. So I grabbed my machine gun, M16. We walk in behind the medic's hooch. I said, hold your arm out. He held his arm out. I grabbed my 16 by the barrel. I swung it like an axe, chopped it down in his forearm like I'm chopping wood. He immediately falls down and starts kind of screaming. I run around the front of the medic's hooch. I said, hey, there's a guy back there. I don't know what happened to him, but he's hurt. He's screaming. You guys got to get back there. And then, of course, I D'd him out or took off. And I never saw him again, so whoever he is from San Diego, Ken Harrelson, he never had to go back in the field to finish out his last 4 months.
Because you broke his arm quick.
So I broke his arm. And I think about him every now and then, but since nobody ever was in contact in those days, but I always wondered what happened to him. So that was one of the things that would happen in Nam.
Sure.
Now here's another one. We're flying out to this mountain somewhere in the field. I shouldn't say mountain, more like a big hill. and we're gonna put a perimeter up around the top of it so the artillery guys can put a few 105 howitzers up there. But first the infantry has to secure it. So, we're in the choppers, the Hueys going out, the usual 4 or 5 of us, choppers, we get to the hill, we're flying, jumping out of the chopper onto the field, onto the grass, the dirt. And for some reason I was a little slow getting out. So the chopper starts lifting back up.
Out of the helicopter, and you were supposed to be out already.
I was supposed to be out already. So he's lifting up. And I'm looking down, I'm ready to get off, but he's lifting up. I'm not jumping from 8 or 10 feet, am I? The next thing I know, the door gunner goes like that and hits me in the back as hard as he can. He pushes me out of the helicopter. I go rolling over, head over tea kettles. I was so mad when I stood up. I lifted up my 16. I was going to kill him. And then he's looking down at me. I can kind of tell. And I've got 18 rounds in my magazine. And he's got about 1,000 hooked up to his machine gun, the M60. So I just had to shine it on and let him go. Okay. Finally, we all get settled around the hill. And where my squad was, out of nowhere, there's this rock. It was as big as a dresser. And I could tell by looking at it after 6 months of sleeping in the jungle, right where your hips are, there's an indentation in this rock. And I could tell by looking, it's going to be comfortable. Sure enough, I lay down in this big rock, and of course my squad guys are laughing at me like I'm an idiot, but not only did it feel good, it was warmed up from the sun. I spent the night in that rock, and it was a really good sleep, I have to tell you.
You slept on a rock.
Slept on this big rock, as big as a dresser, about 8 or 10 feet long. So that was another good time in Nam. Now, another time, because I was getting in trouble a lot of times, I'd come back after 30 days in the field, take a shower, and I'm supposed to go to some goddamn bunker on the perimeter and pull guard? Are you kidding? I want to go up to a hooch where there's a turntable and somebody's got some new music on. The Doors, Creedence, Cream, somebody. Anyway, I'm always in trouble. I get Article 32s, I get court-martial. I went through one 3-month period in Nam because they took so much money out of my pay. As a private, I think I was getting about $78 or $85 a month. For 3 months, I went and owed the government $15 after all the court-martials from what I was getting in trouble for.
So not only were you at war, you also owed the government money.
I owed the government money.
In a war.
Who could that happen to? How many guys did that happen to? It might have happened to some other guys than me, but anyway, my nephew likes that story a lot. So listen, we'll do another one now. We're going to go right on to this crazy guy. His name was Casey. I forget his last name. He was from Oklahoma.
Casey from Oklahoma.
Casey from Oklahoma. So anyway, it's end of our 30 days, onto the choppers, fly back to the base camp, take a shower, go up and hear some music, come back to the hooch about midnight or whenever to crash. Well, Casey from Oklahoma, his deal was freaking guys out. What Casey would do is he'd pull the pin out of the grenades. And then he'd go and point it in front of your face, or, he'd do something like, we're gonna all die. As if we didn't have enough shit going on. Anyway, I'll always remember this one night, I'm laying in the bunk, trying to sleep, but not quite. There's other guys like me, out of the 30 or 40 guys in the hooch. So Casey comes in, stumbling, we know it's him. He pulls the pin out of the grenade like he usually does once a month on the back of the rear when we come in.
Just to try to be funny or something.
Trying to be funny, trying to freak guys out. That was Casey's deal. He was a drunk. Anyway, we hear the pin come out, and pretty soon we hear Casey kind of stumbling around. And then I hear him say, "What happened to the pin?" And I swear about 20 guys exploded out of that hooch along with me because we thought he was going to blow us up with his grenade. Thanks to Casey, that was another great night in Vietnam.
What an idiot. So, but if you keep, so if you're holding a grenade and you pull the pin out, you can still, with your hand though, do what the pin is
When
doing.
you hold on to the spoon, it's called. It's a part of the grenade. You can pull the pin. The grenade doesn't go off.
Sure.
But when you let this pin go, it goes boing. It's spring loaded. Grenades are spring loaded. You pull the pin, boing. The spring goes off. 6 seconds later, the grenade goes off. So you got 6 seconds to get that grenade throw somewhere, or it's going to blow you and your buddies up.
Right, and who wants to trust Casey to keep it?
Exactly. Okay. Now, going out to the Nam, going out to the boonies, 30 days out of the month. That's all we cared about. We couldn't wait to get in and take a shower, maybe hear some music, just anything different than stumbling around in the jungle. It's brutal out there. You have no idea, and I can't put it into words for you. It's extremely hard.
How brutal it was.
So anyway, one of these times, we're in the rear after our 30 days in the field, and for some reason, we had been working with some guys from the 1st Cav. Funny things happen in Nam, who you work with, who you go in the field with, who you do this with. So they're attached to us. These, I think it was about 2 squads, maybe 15, 20 guys are attached to us for that 1 month that we're together. So we come back to the rear, and I had sort of a reputation of being able to score a pot, especially when nobody else could. That was one of the stories from the last time. I'll go over it another time, but not right now. But anyway, I was known as a dealer. So these guys come to me, these guys from the 1st Cav. It's after supper, we're just hanging out in the hooch, nothing's going on. So the guy wants some liquid speed. I said, I've never seen any, I've never even heard of it. He said, yeah, I know, it's around. These guys were so crazy. It wasn't enough for them to be out every day, 30 days in a row. They wanted to go out at night, take speed, go through the wire, and go out into the jungle in the night and shoot, kill, fire up anybody they could. And that's what Nam did to a lot of guys. That's why you see these VA hospitals across the country. These guys are all walking all right. Look like anybody else, but they're all crazy in their head. And it's just the way Nam was. The PTSD thing started, of course, probably back in the Roman days. Shell shock came about in World War I because most of the guys were getting killed by artillery rounds, hence the shell shock syndrome.
Sure.
But in Nam, they didn't call it that. They called it something else, post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSD. I have it myself.
And their way of dealing with it was just to go try to kill more even.
Yeah, these guys were totally, can you imagine after being out all day, trying to, looking for Charlie, looking for Viet Cong, looking for people to shoot, but it wasn't enough for them. After dinner, they wanted to take some speed, stay up all night and go out again.
That's crazy.
I never got their names. I could still see a couple of the guys in my eye. Who they were, though, I doubt that I'd recognize them. But anyway, these are some guys from the 1st Cav, and you would have to know the 1st Cav was one of the first outfits back in '65 who were in the first big battle in Nam up by Pleiku, in the middle of the country by where the mountains run like a spine through the country of Vietnam.
Okay.
Triple canopy, elephants, tigers, the emperor, the people that run the country in the old days used to go hunting. I mean, there's places there like you're back in the Stone Age. And that's where the 1st Cav first landed in 1965. Call it Anke, call it Pleiku, wherever you want to call it. It was in the middle of the country by the Triple Canopy Mountains.
Just little villages that might as well have been the 1500s, huh? So,
yeah, there was even no villages. There's nothing out there but jungle. That's why we call ourselves boonie rats. You go out for 30 days, you don't see anything. Depends on where you go. We had operations that worked around villages. We had operations that worked up in the Triple Canopy. For us, it was called Li Hong Fong. Now, I had been over in Nam about just 4 or 5 months maybe, and the word was, we're going out to Li Hong Fong for a month. Some of the old timers who had been there, they're groaning. It's like, well, man, we're going from a frying pan into hell, you know. And I thought, oh, this isn't good. But anyway, next day comes up. It's time to go. Get in the choppers, fly out, get dropped off, start walking into this new place, for me anyway, following the guy ahead of me, Li Hong Fong. And I thought to myself as we're walking in, the guy started disappearing because it's so thick you can't see 10 feet in front of you. And as I was walking in, I thought to myself, well, at least the sun is not going to be coming down on us. The sun in Nam is like a hammer. Anyway, we get into this Li Hong Fong, and was I mistaken? You're in triple canopy. The air doesn't move. The humidity is beyond comprehension.
How do you stay hydrated?
Beyond words. You don't. You can only carry so many canteens.
Yeah.
Now in my outfit, down in Fantayette, the 3rd 506, 101st Airborne Division, we got resupplied every 5 days with ammo, water, mail, that kind of thing. So that means you carry all the water you're going to drink in 5 days. You can carry, at the most, for myself speaking, I could carry 6 canteens and get by for the 5 days. 6 canteens. I only knew one guy, Rick Burns from San Bernardino. Rick could carry 5. But now understand, you can drink a canteen every hour.
Yeah,
But one canteen's got to last you pretty much the whole day. And you never get to drink. You can only sip. You're thirsty for the whole time you're out there. You're thirsty for a month. You can never slake your thirst from your canteens. That's just to keep you alive. And that's just part of Nam. That's just a small part of what it means to sleep in and live and fight and kill and die in the jungle.
Sounds
In
horrible.
68 and 9. I see the shows on TV just like you guys do. Ken Burns, Vietnam, all these stories, documentaries, shows.
Yeah.
Most of them are close to the truth, but naturally, most of them aren't having anything to do with being out in the middle of the goddamn jungle, let me tell you. Let me tell you. So anyway, I do that for about 10 and a half months. And it comes to July. Now I'm down to 45 days. I'm a short timer, they call it. I'm ready to come home. And I step on a mine and get blown up. But it was just a little blow up. It wouldn't have been a big artillery round. It was just a little like a sea ration can or something filled with, rocks and powder and whatever else Charlie used to blow guys up.
Yeah.
But it put me on crutches for a couple of months in the hospital. But there was a famous battle right before I got hit. It was called Hamburger Hill. It was up north in Phubai. And those guys got blown up and messed up, not just blown up, but it was a big battle. Hamburger Hill. That was in May of 69. I got blown up in July of 69. 2 months later, there were still guys in the hospital from that Hamburger Hill ordeal.
Oh.
So the guys told me the stories. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So I heard all the stories and what they had to do and this and that. And I'm telling you, part of the nightmare about being in Nam in the jungle, you got guys, you probably won't believe this, and I don't expect you to, but most of what I would have to say about the jungle is unbelievable anyway. Anyway, you're in the jungle. Now, we're just guys who want to get in and out of the Army as fast as we can. 2 years if you get drafted, 3 years like me if you join up. But if you're a lifer, if you want to make a career out of the Army, you want to have medals when you come back from Vietnam. So we'll have guys up in the air in these little helicopters. They're on top of us flying around saying, go here, I see somebody over there. Lieutenant, take your men over there and attack that hill and things like that so they can get their medals on our backs. We'll die for them to get medals. That was part of Nam. You would think we'd all be on the same side, but it wasn't like that at all. It was a goddamn civil war over there. So you get real tight with your buddies. And other than your little squad, other than your little 5-10 guys here, the platoon, maybe 30 guys, that's your whole world. There's nothing else. You take care of each other or you're dead, just like all the other wars anybody had ever been in, World War I or II. So anyway, that's part of Vietnam for today, and I can't think of anything else right offhand, but my friend Elliot and I, we're going to be back again. I've got a few more stories. We're going to compile it, and just wanted to say, be glad who you are in America today, and I'll be back again with Elliot one day. As we used to say in the war, stay high, keep low. Adios.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate you.
My pleasure, Elliot.
Wait, before we leave, I got one question. Is about those guys in the helicopters. So if they're up in the helicopters trying to get medals, sending you to your death, it is, like you said, there was a civil war, but would you ever tell those guys to fuck off or just not do what they said?
You tell me, can you tell the boss of the company or the president to fuck off if you're a laborer or a little guy down here?
No.
You don't get a chance. You don't even get close to them. No, you're in the meat grinder, kid, just like all the wars, and that's it.
And they have machine guns, so if you disobey, they could shoot you.
No, not so much. Nothing like that. They just send you to your death for their medals.
And there's nothing you can do.
Officers only do 6 months in the field, whether you're a Marine or Army.
Yeah.
You do 6 months in the field because the Army brass, Secretary of the Army, thinks officers have it worse than the sergeants or non-commissioned officers. We all do 12 months if you're in the Army, 13 if you're a Marine. The officers only do half that much. They got to get their medals. If they don't go back to the States without medals, I'm talking Bronze Stars, Silver Stars, stuff like that.
Yeah.
There are other officers that are going to look down on them like, you didn't see any action, you weren't even in it. And these guys can get medals without even being in it. They can be 200 feet atop of us.
So there's nothing you can say when they say go to the end of that field, there's guys there.
There's nothing you can say. You're at the very bottom. When you're in the infantry, you're always on the bottom. I hate to say that word, everybody knows it, but it all rolls downhill. And when you're a boonie rat, it's all hits you. But you're proud to be a boonie rat because you and your buddies take care of each other.
Sure. Well, thank you so much, Bob. Appreciate you sharing these stories with us, and appreciate you in general.
You bet. Well, listen, thanks for putting me on. It's nice to relate some of this stuff. I get it off my chest, and everybody wins. And good night, Mr. and Mr. America.
Thanks, Bob. See you soon again.
You bet.